Hello, 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 and welcome back to the So You're Stay at Home podcast. How has your week been going? Mine has been I know, I say that every week. I'm Kayla, a stay-at-home mom to a fast-growing kindergartner. I sometimes come up with awesome ideas that will blow your mind, but this probably won't be one of those times, so let's get into it. It's almost here. Christmas is almost here. No, let's do Thanksgiving first, and then we'll move on to Christmas, right? Are you with me or not? But anyway, I hope your week, I know my intros probably already said it. I don't really remember my intros. I write them down. I do them. I record them, and then that's it. And then I have them so that I have intros, and I don't have to say the same thing over and over again, but I'm pretty sure I do that anyway. Anyway. This week has been fun. Not really. We didn't go to school this week, which, like his enrichment class, I did not feel well. Like, literally did not feel well. I woke up and my stomach was just like in a horrible knot. And it was like that for a few hours. So we missed the class. And he's upset about it. He doesn't even realize. He's like, and then we have school. I said, no, you don't have school this week either because it's Thanksgiving or whatever. But it happens. He still got his education this week. We're actually almost done with the semester, which I'm so happy for. He takes 6 classes, and each class has about, well, not all, his elective classes only have 2 modules this semester. His core classes, like English, math, science, and social studies, they all have at least 6 modules in them. So we are in all of the last modules, or in all classes, we're in the last module for that subject. You might hear my dishwasher in the background because everyone left the house. There's only 2 people besides me in this house, but everyone left. So it's just me, and I'm taking this 15 minutes that I have to record my podcast because I didn't get any quiet time this week. But besides that, so he has 6 classes. He's in his last module for his core classes. He only has to do DBAs, which are discussion-based assessments, and like the assessment, which is like the test or questions about the like a activity or something in regards to that module. So that's all he has to do. And then of course I have tests that I want him to take just to test like what he's learned as far as like standardized testing goes. But yeah, in all of his core classes, he only has DBAs to do. In his Spanish class, he only has a test, but I have to wait and to take that test like once a week. We don't talk to anyone and that's after Thanksgiving too. I can't even turn that in next week. Damn. So yeah, he's done, and I'm so excited because we haven't had a break for a long time now. It's been a while. He was doing school when he came back from seeing my dad in North Carolina, so he has been doing school since then. And I told him before school is over, or before school even started, because I had all intentions of starting the day after Labor Day, just because that's what I grew up doing. It makes the most sense. You get your full summer. There's no like, oh, kids, it's just different. I don't think that kids should go back at the beginning of August. That's not a thing. Like, I think that's just ridiculous. They're shortening the school year, whatever. I'm not a part of that system. I don't have to deal with that. But because I do the county virtual school as opposed to the state, I'm kind of on the school system. So we were 3 weeks behind, and now we are like 3 weeks finished. I just really like homeschool because it really is at his pace. He really catches on to math. Math has kind of just been a review until like these last couple modules. Not even last couple, like this last module. But he does amazing in math. He does well in science. Science just has like a bunch of like paper now, and a bunch of experiments that just have like a bunch of words on them, and then there's nothing like really. He draws a couple pictures and that's it. But yeah, he didn't do too great on a couple of his DBAs. He needs to focus. feel like something's ringing. My windows are open. I don't know. It might have been the dishwasher. I literally just felt like I heard something ring. But yeah, he just needs to focus and know that he can. I was just checking the time on this and make sure I was recording. That he just has to focus because he didn't get 100% on his last 2 DBAs. The Spanish one was kind of like, the lesson itself hasn't talked about Mexico at all. It talked about it like at the beginning of the first module. But if we're going on the second module, like they haven't discussed Mexico. And I don't know anything about freaking Mexico to like say, and it was just like a question that she asked him. And I said, but we didn't fucking even learn. Sorry. We didn't even learn about that. I'm trying to like, you know what? No, I'm not censoring myself for YouTube at all. I'm not even a channel on YouTube yet, so. But I am on YouTube. That's fun, right? You can find me easier. I feel like you don't have to download an app to get the podcast, which is really cool. Yeah, but there'll be more details about that later. I'll talk about that later. Let's talk about homeschooling right now because that's pretty much why you're here. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know why people come and listen to my podcast. I've had no feedback on it, and I've just been talking, and I have listeners. Thank you to everyone who like listens to me rant about nonsense. Last episode was a crazy one, so if you listened to that one, thank you. If you didn't, it's okay. If you're just like, I don't know what this person's talking about, thank you. I don't either. And yeah, so that's just it as far as that goes. But so he just needs to focus. I need to focus. And yeah, but I've been getting frustrated with him. It's just a lot. Homeschooling is a lot. Yeah, we finished in 3 months. I don't even know how long we've been doing this now. 2 months, 2.5 months we finished. 3 months we finished. But, and he likes doing school and everything. It's a lot. Yesterday, the power people came and knocked on the door and they had to replace our meter or something like that. And I was like, okay. And he's like, but the power's going to be off for a few minutes. And I said, it is okay. We will be fine. We will survive. We will go read a book. So, because I was in the process of teaching and everything's on the computer. So I was like, well, that's fine. We'll just go read a book. So we went and read 2 books. Power went off, came back on within that time. But I have to be his motivator. It's a lot. This is all so stressful. Parenthood is just so stressful. I feel like I'm failing him. I feel like he's an awesome kid. I don't want to rub off too much on him because I can sometimes have not a bad attitude. I just don't care. I sometimes just don't care. I'm like, okay, I just don't care. And a lot of people take that as but it's like I have my own ish that I have to worry about in my head. I don't want your energy. I don't want a lot of people's energy because a lot of people are just negative and Debbie Downers, and I try not to be. I try to be like, oh, well, there's reasons to that, or there's an explanation to everything. Everything. You just have to go back far enough and find the reasoning to why people do the things that they do. But yeah, I've just been going, there's a dead tree. But I don't know if it's the tree or there's this invasive plant over here. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to cut it down. Not today. I was going to do it today, but it's really cold. It's not really cold outside. It's 65 degrees. It's cold. Okay. It's freezing. I went outside to feed the cat and I was like, oh no, I'm just going to go back inside. It's cold out here. I had a tank top on. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. I've been struggling. That's why I kind of want to talk about this podcast, but I probably won't go into too much detail. But yeah, I've just been struggling with are we doing a good job, especially with these last 2 grades that didn't come back 100%, which is he's in kindergarten. He still has a 99 A in majority of his classes. Oh, I had to do a science project that took forever. It was oh my gosh, what are those things called? A PowerPoint presentation. And I just use Google's docs and slides and stuff like that. And it was, I really feel like I hear people talking. Making sure it's like not music or anything. My door's closed. I can close my windows, but they're not even in this room. Anyway, so yeah, I had to I usually use like Google Slides, Google Word. I don't even know if that's a thing, but you know what I'm talking about. Things like that. And it was saying, or I had to like, the audio didn't save. And it took me like 3 days to figure out how to do this audio. The project was late. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's just, I don't understand. Like, you want me to, and then I didn't understand the questioning. We did the project like 5 times. We took 15 different pictures because I didn't know what I was supposed to do at all. He's just supposed to count from 1 to 10. And I'm like, well, I just don't understand why make this a project? He's not even doing it because he doesn't know how to do a PowerPoint presentation. He's in kindergarten. Like, that's the thing that annoys me sometimes. It's like, with the whole homeschooling thing, it's like, he can't write. He knows like his sight words. He can write his sight words and he can read his sight words. But he doesn't like to, it's just a lot. It's just so much. Like, he knows words, but he just doesn't want to say them because they're not my sight words. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, kid? Read the word. You know the word. And that's where I get frustrated. And that's where I know I need to take a step back. Because it's like, I know you know it. Just stop acting like you don't know it. Just stop acting like you don't know it. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's none of those things. There's absolutely no one here to impress. I think everything that you do is impressive. So you don't have to show off for me because I ain't going to think it's cute. I'm going to knock you right back down to your level. Ugh, kids are stressful. They are, especially when you homeschool them. And like, I had zero intentions of doing this. When I had a kid, I was like, okay, I'm for sure homeschooling because the school systems, I think, are just so screwy and they don't really care about the kid. Like, they don't care if they're learning anymore. And it all started in 2003 with no child left behind. But yeah, they just don't care. I feel like our school systems are way worse ever since that law was passed into effect. And what it pretty much does is, before No Child Left Behind, you had standards of learning tests. Ours were literally called the SOLs, the standards of learning. But each state had their own. So it's not like the federal government implemented a test for the entire country, the same test to see if we're a smart country or not, if we're we all have the standard. It's still a state-based test, which is stupid because each state teaches completely different crap. I am telling you, every state, except for math, every state teaches something completely, and science, because I feel like those things are you can't not teach those the right way. But if you go to school, I went to high school in Virginia I went to school in Virginia and in Colorado. And the differences, complete differences of the curriculum, what's required, all of that stuff was just completely different than Virginia. It's like, damn, I feel like kids in Virginia get a way better education than the kids in Colorado because whatever they're teaching you in Colorado, these kids had no damn common sense. In the sense of we were talking about something and I'm like, yeah, but that's not how it works in the rest of the country. That's just not how it works. That's just not how it works. You guys live up in the mountains and don't know what the hell's going on. And that's everywhere, right? I feel like we should teach everything to every place. Anyway, I'm just going off on a tangent, as usual. And I'm going to be wrapping this podcast up, not because I don't have time or don't have a lot to say. I have a lot of other things that I have to be doing today. So yeah, anyway, I'm waiting on, so the SOLs, standards of learning, that's what our shit out of luck. But before that, it was just a test to test what you against everyone else. And now it's a test to test whether you fail or pass a grade or a class. And some of these classes are mandatory in your curriculum to pass that grade. In Virginia, it was in Kentucky. In Colorado, it wasn't mandatory to take any classes my senior year. You just had to take English classes, but they didn't even have like an English 12 class where every 12th grader learned the same thing. They had English electives, which was weird. I thought that was so weird. And I get it, you're prepping them from college, but like what you really should be prepping kids for college is like writing papers that are going to get graded on your teacher's opinion, and that's it. That's hard. I hated college. I remember I'm just going off now. I remember my first year, my first English test, and I'm good at writing papers. I'm not like the best, but I do very well at writing papers. I do very well at citing my sources in that demographic, right? And writing a paper. I learned, I have books still that like teach you how to write papers, or not write papers, but like the right way to cite a paper and all those things. Like you need this and the meat, and I used to love doing all those things. And then I took a class my freshman year of college, and I took an opinion class. I don't know what it was about. I just remember it was an opinion-based class, like opinion writing or something like that. This was almost 15 years ago. I don't remember. But I do remember the teacher. She was from Oregon, so she had like different beliefs than I did. I grew up in Virginia, went to school for a year in Colorado, and was going to college in Kentucky. So, and I decided to write about a certain flag from the South. And not in a negative way or any connotation, more of like on a history term. And she was just like, but it was an opinion class, right? All my cites were appropriate, were cited correctly. All of like the paper was written correctly. That's literally all she should have been grading on. She shouldn't have been grading on my opinion, whether she agreed with it or not. And I look back at that, and she gave me, and there was like 3 grades in her class, and one was this paper, this huge paper. And I don't remember how long it was. It was probably like a 5-page paper that I ended up like typed, double spaced, all that fun stuff. Biggest font, 12, all that font. But we would go, it was like the big grade, because I remember it was throughout the semester we were talking about this paper, and she's like, and she liked me, she did not like me after we had to sit down, and she was like, I don't think this is the appropriate topic, or that like what you're saying is like right. And I'm like, but you're from, I didn't say this, but I'm like, but you're from Oregon. Like you have you grew up in Oregon. You have no understanding, like absolutely no understanding of how I grew up, for one, and the people that I grew up around, and where I grew up, and all those things, and what I've seen. And that's all I can go off is my experiences in life. I can't go off of what everyone else says. And how the people where I come from accept these things. It's like, so what the fuck? And she gave me an F. Or no, she gave me a 60. However they weighted the grades at that school, she gave me the one, or however she weighted her grades, whatever. She gave me a grade right over an F for that paper. So it killed my GPA. And from that one class just went a downward spiral for like my school. I loved school before that. And she shouldn't have, and if it was today, first of all, if it was today, I probably wouldn't be writing about that topic, because it's a completely different climate in all senses than it was 15 years ago. This is pre-Trump. This is pre-Obama. This was Bush era. The country wasn't so divisive. It just really wasn't. And yeah, not saying that it was divisive during, I feel like it's been the most divisive now, and I mean in my lifetime, only in my lifetime. I'm not talking about the history of humans, because in the history of humans, there's a lot of other stuff we could be talking about. But in my time, and I was just like, I was thinking about it a couple of days ago, and I was like, I should have never gotten a D on that paper. I should have got an A on that paper, because the paper was written correctly. It was written well. I used the right like tenses, everything that I had. She just didn't agree with my opinion, so she gave me a fucking F, pretty much. And I was just like, and then that literally gave me a D in her class, because We only had like 3 topics or like 3, like the syllabus was just really light. It was I was like, oh, this is be a good grade class. And she just shitted on me. Whatever. But you learn what you learn. And now I love where I am in my life now. I can't be upset about then. I was just like now thinking about it. I said, oh, that I should have gotten like at least a C or a B or anything besides a fucking F or a D. Like the letter right above an F. That's spite. That's not a grade, like especially in an opinion class. Because in my next class, like I do with the top, and I'm like, oh, we're in college now. I can talk about what I want to. No, you cannot. So for all the kids nowadays who cry about all the shit that their teachers do to them in college and like, oh, they gave me a bad grade. Oh, we're not allowed to have it. I didn't have that crap and I didn't cry about it. And I went through and I got an A in my next English class. Like, just shit. It's life. It's life. It's life. I just read this article. Okay, I'm done. I'm so done talking right now, but I want to talk about this article that I just read today. It was an article that like 5 things that parents do with successful or 5 things that you can do to make your child successful. I don't know. Children who are more successful their parents do these 5 things as opposed to children who aren't successful and as they get older in life. And a couple things were play with them, which is that their child plays with them. TV time, not TV time, but screen time. And if you listen to my podcast, that was my first episode that I ever did was about screen time and all that stuff. And like they say now after the fact, after the 5-year-olds are 10, like the technology's been around for a long time. And now that like 5 years ago, they didn't tell me this information, but this technology still existed. They say, don't let your children on tablets until they're at least 5 years old. But now my child's 5. He's had access to all of that stuff his whole entire life. Now that he's 5, you're like, oh, you should wait till he's 5 to show him all this stuff. It's like, where the fuck were y'all 5 years ago? Everyone has an opinion about everything. They say, no spankings. Okay. Which I don't think you should beat your children. But if your child, I don't know, and I don't think you should hit your child. It does like not promote, but it does bring like a resentment of the child for you. But I got spanked when I was little, like 7. I think it was the last time I got spanked. And then I was never spanked again, and I did decent. I think I'm a good human being. I think I'm a decent human. I think I'm a really good human being, but I think I'm a good human being. We'll go with that. We'll take that. So I don't know. And then TV time, I don't know. I had TV back in the day. I didn't have a TV in my room but I did for a long period of time. And the TVs in the rooms are the worst because if your child does not sleep, let me give you a tidbit advice, okay? If you have a young child and there's a TV in their room because, you're like, oh, I put a movie on and go to sleep, or I put a movie on and watch a movie and go to bed. Your kid will just stay up and watch the movie. My kid was staying up till freaking like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, dude, go to bed. And as soon as I would turn his TV off, he would go to sleep. But at 8 o'clock, he wasn't going to sleep. And then I was just like, I'm just taking the TV out of his room altogether. And for a year, it's been out of his room, almost a year. And he's been doing really well. Sometimes he's like, oh, I wish I had a TV in my room. But he has a TV in the living room. Like, there's only 3 people in this house, and we have 3 TVs. Is that right? Yes. We don't need, everyone has a TV. No one needs, you don't need one in your room. And I have one in my room, but I barely turn it on. I might like go in there early. Lately, I've been going in there earlier at night and just turning it on for like an hour and a half and watching Schitt's Creek, which is hilarious. If you haven't watched that, that's a really funny show. And if you haven't watched Disjointed, that show is hilarious. I just came across it like a couple of weeks ago, and I think it has 2 seasons or 2 parts, which are like 2 seasons, and it's funny. I think Kathy Bates, I think that's her name. I don't actually know her name. And she does phenomenal as the lead character. I think she does a really well job. I think it's a cool concept that like there's an audience, but the audience doesn't go, oh, or any of that stuff. They just clap and say, yeah, ha, ha, and laugh. But it's a really funny show. But Schitt's Creek is funny. I really like Schitt's Creek. I started watching it because I was listening to something and they said, if you haven't watched this, you should. And so I started watching it. So if you haven't listened to Schitt's Creek, I'm just passing it along. You should. You can definitely find it on Netflix and all that jazz. Oh, next week I'm going to talk about Disney. Will I? I don't know. We just got a Disney Plus, which I didn't even get the Disney. Okay, I'm going to talk about them today. Screw it. Real quick. Disney Plus is great if you didn't grow up with Toon Disney and the Disney Channel. If you grew up with those channels, then you're going to be like, oh, damn, I've been here, done this. I've heard, I haven't researched myself. I have the channel itself. My dad gave me his code. Because we dropped Hulu because of it. I was not paying. I don't want to buy into Disney Plus. I just don't. I get Disney. I get it, Disney. Y'all are like head honchos. We do what we want. But they have their own channel. They're their own curators. They don't even have freaking commercials. They have no ads. They make bank. Why do I have to pay another $10 a month or another $15 to get shows that were just on other platforms that y'all could just get a cut from? Like, I get it, but like when you've been around this long, I don't know. It's just like a money grab for me. And it's not even a well-executed money grab. If you have children, it's great for children. There's like a couple shows on there. My son is loving watching like Goof Troops, but that's because I watch Goof Troops and I had to find it. There's not even Disney Junior shows on there. There's The Lion Guard, but I think that's because it's off. I don't know if that comes on anymore. But yeah, and the crazy thing is like we've always been paying for Disney Channel. So like why do we have to pay for now the Disney Channel and Disney Plus? It just doesn't make sense to me. If you guys do it, knock yourself out. I don't care. I'm just saying, and I've been getting in arguments about this with everyone that I talk to. I'm like, it's not a scam. It's just a money grab. And you can, if you have cable, you're already paying Disney money. Because back in the day when we didn't have, when we had satellites, we had Disney because it was contracted into the thing. We were paying for Disney. It's not like they're a part of the contract. Like, you're paying for those channels. But I don't know if that's true. So I'm going to stop talking. But the truth is, Disney Plus is like, yeah, great if you have young kids who've never seen any of these shows. But there's no Disney Junior on there. If there is, it's not easy to find. There is, yeah, and it's all just like kids from the Disney Channel, or all shows from the Disney Channel in the 90s and the early 2000s. I don't even think the Disney Channel, that's the thing, Disney Channel didn't have shows like that in the early 90s. So it's only like shows from like the 2000s. And like The Little Mermaid had a show, Timon and Pumbaa had a show, like those shows you can find. But again, those are all Disney shows from the 90s and the 2000s. And it has, like, if you had Toon Disney, which I know like I had because we had satellite when I was growing up. If you had Toon Disney, that all those shows are on there as well. So, like I said, been there, done that. I ain't paying for it. I'll take it as long as it's free, but as soon as, okay, it's going to get loud because somebody is booming through my neighborhood. So I apologize. Yeah, I'm going to get off of here because now this is all distorted and it's been 28 minutes. I can talk forever. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and here comes my outro. Sorry for the music in the background. So that was rough. I mean, it usually is, but I know you will miss all of my confusion and incomplete thoughts, so I will see you in a few days to do this all over again. Maybe a week or two. I don't know. I'm not consistent on the schedule, but if you can't wait until then, you can find me on Instagram at SEW, You're a Stay at Home, and 3 of a Kind Bags. Thank you. Talk to you soon.